The Chicago Bulls took a 35-point loss yesterday to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And on that game and during that game, the injury bug bites the Chicago Bulls again, this time with Coby White and Josh Giddey. What to expect next? Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down for today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, like Talking Bulls basketball, man, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell, man. But hey, the Chicago Bulls, last night was rough for them. A 136-101 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And what was looking like it was going to be a really fun game to watch for the Chicago Bulls. But then Coby White exited the game early, and then quarters later, Josh Giddey exited the game holding his hamstring. And for the Chicago Bulls, this just comes at a weird ass time to where we don't really want to see guys go down. In any sport, we never want to see players get injured and have that on our minds that said player will be missing X amount of games. And the crazy part is, prior to the game, we found out that Zach Collins will be missing the game and potentially be out for this entire week with a sprained toe, as what was reported by head coach Billy Donovan. Now, when it comes to Coby White, and you look at this game, before we talk more about Coby White, you look at a game where the Chicago Bulls, they're really competing with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then once you see Josh Giddey go out, you just seeing a different Chicago Bulls team, man. And the Chicago Bulls, I mean, what I think that just pretty much snatched the life out of them the last night. You seen guys go off for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and particularly Naj Reid, who put up 33 points, shot 11 of 18 from the field and 6 of 10 from the three-point line in just 27 minutes, and they started to really put it on the Chicago Bulls. So it's just one of those things to where you look at it and you just be like, God damn, man. God. Like, we could take losses, but nobody wants to sit through a 30-point loss, bro. It's 35 points specifically. And with injuries now being right there for the Chicago Bulls, you wonder, are we about to go through another 7-game slide? Especially because Wednesday night we're playing against the New Orleans Pelicans, and we know how those last few games versus that team has gone for the Chicago Bulls. Even with some of these players that are out, they were there in some of those games. So you look at it, you look at last night, not great games all around. Nikola Vucevic did give you 23, but Josh Giddey, he was out. P. Will only gave you 7 points. Julian Phillips came in and gave you nothing. Javon Carter, nothing. Kevin Huerter only 8 points. Trey Jones, 11 points. Ayo Dosunmu, 10 points. So that speaks to why this team got blew out in that game. Now, the thing about Coby White and more about his injury is that we don't necessarily know what the timeline is right now. For Coby White, he pretty much missed the first month of the season with the calf injury, and then missed a couple more games with the other calf being injured. And now we're looking at this situation as it's in the air right now. Sometimes when these calf strains come up, teams like to take the precautionary lane, and rightfully so. And there could potentially be a thing for Coby White to where we see him out for another month again. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. My expectations is that we're gonna hear some report that Coby White is out 2 to 4 weeks, and best case scenario, they just say 1 to 2 weeks, or we're gonna play it day by day. But you don't want to see guys go out there and further damage the calf or even take a more severe loss with the injury. So we're gonna knock on wood on that one and see what happens, man. But make sure y'all stay locked in for that one. We'll definitely be bringing an update once we get that regarding Coby White. Now, when it comes to Josh Giddey's hamstring, Josh Giddey, man, it's unfortunate because right now, when we looking at some of the most recent fan voting for Josh Giddey is top 15 in fan voted. I'm like, hold on, what? I ain't expect that. Even, you know what I'm saying? Even though I've been rooting for the guy and really wanting to see him, put his best foot forward and have an opportunity to become an all-star because I think he has been playing some really good basketball. And I believe he can take it up another notch offensively, at least, because we've seen him, do his thing for the Chicago Bulls over these last few games. In fact, in the most recent 5-game winning streak, Josh Giddey has 4 double-doubles and 2 triple-doubles. So my man's has been doing his damn job pretty damn well, whether that's helping with the rebounding and with the boards, whether that's helping with the assists, and even with the point totals. Josh Giddey, he been doing a really good job inside the lane, distributing to others, hitting his 3-point shot. Can't say much about that last night prior to the injury, but Josh Giddey, for the most part, has been doing what he has been paid to do, and he has been helping, and he has been out there for the Chicago Bulls. But for some strange reason, this injury bug continues to bite the Chicago Bulls. We've been seeing Ayo Dosunmu miss games, Kevin Huerter miss games, Isaac Okoro. I think just about everybody on the team has missed a game. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just a few people here and there, like Javon Carter and Julia Phillips and Dalen Terry. Yes, they received DNPs, but I don't necessarily remember if these guys missed the game due to injury. Maybe I'm be wrong. Maybe I missed something, but I think that the injury bug is going out there and it's hurting the Chicago Bulls. So even having even any chance to go out there and put it all on wax and and put their best efforts forward, and coming off a 5-game winning streak, now dropping your last 2, it looks like we might be dropping a couple more. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but hey, guys ultimately have to step up. In fact, head coach Billy Donovan listed out 3 players who he believes need to step up in the absence of the Chicago Bulls guards. That is Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Jones. Billy Donovan believes they're all expected to step up and take advantage of the opportunity that is in front of them. Billy Donovan went on to say this: we got a whole lot of better we got to be a whole lot better. Our guard play in particular needs to get better. I know with Coby and Josh, whatever their status may be in the future, I think there's enough there for Ayo, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Jones to carry the load. Me personally, I think that these guys are capable of carrying a load. I think Trey Jones can definitely contribute in a major way. He plays really solid basketball for the Chicago Bulls coming off the bench, and I think he is capable of carrying the load per se. The same thing can be said about Ayo Dosunmu, who I believe is a very important piece for the Chicago Bulls and their success. And now with more opportunity, Ayo Dosunmu, his minutes are going to increase. The load will be a lot larger than what it was, over the last few weeks, because Josh Giddey and Coby White were here. So I think that you can't put nothing past Ayo Dosunmu. I think Ayo Dosunmu is a hell of a basketball player offensively and defensively that can help the Chicago Bulls. I don't necessarily know how, you know, I know he has an impact and can impact winning, but with the lack of depth or with the expectation of what Billy Donovan is going to do with some of his lineups, one has to really sit there and harp on this and ask the question: can the Chicago Bulls continue to win games? The first answer is yes, but then versus who? You know what I mean? Because now we're down our 2 best players, and guys absolutely have to step up, but nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Nobody is going to make excuses. The Chicago Bulls just simply have to go out there and take care of business. My train of thought is, who comes in now? Who's going to step up for the Chicago Bulls now? Will you go back and call guys up from the G League and Emmanuel Miller and Lachlan Obridge? Will you call those guys up and continue to run your 2 big lineup if you're Billy Donovan, this time now including Jalen Smith, Nikola Vucevic, and Obridge? Is that something that's on the table now? Do you find more support in bringing in Emmanuel Miller? Or do you say, hey, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, you're going to receive more opportunity? And if you do go those routes, can Lachlan come in and be effective with this double big lineup that has helped the Chicago Bulls play better basketball? You ask me, I say, why the hell not try and see if it can happen? Because, Jalen Smith and Zach Collins, they have been filling the void and pretty damn well over the last few weeks. In fact, I think Jalen Smith had a really good game yesterday. Yeah, even though the team lost, they got their ass kicked for the most part before the team started getting their ass kicked. Jalen Smith was having a hell of a game. He ultimately ended the game with 12 points, went 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line with 6 rebounds. And I think that was really productive for him. And I think that if we did not see the energy, I think the game would the energy, the injuries. If we did not see the injuries of our two best players, I think we would have experienced a more closer and a lot funner game to watch. So I think Jalen Smith can go out there and still be productive. Can Obridge come in and help that? I absolutely think he can. And I honestly think that you should be trying to see him out there on the floor anyway to see how he can adjust to the NBA game. We got a couple good minutes from him earlier in the season when the injury bug bit us that first time, or it's still been biting us all year round. But the point is that Obridge very well can come in and provide some type of support for the Chicago Bulls to where they may drop a game here and there, but you're still able to keep pace in the Eastern Conference and see what you can do to further adjust. And now you can further evaluate guys like Obridge. So I would say go for it, call him up, let him run with the guys, and see what he can do. Because he been doing pretty damn well in the G League, at least it's what I've been hearing. So let's see what he does with the NBA guys. You know what I'm saying? And then for guys like Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips, here's another opportunity for you guys. We always talked about how do you guys separate yourselves from one another. That's been the conversation. We know that you guys have received DNPs prior to last night. Now, with more opportunity, how do you impact the game? You have to understand that we just don't want you in the game for energy and defense. You have to affect the game offensively. Now, it's going to be a bit tough because with the system that Billy Donovan run, it makes me scratch my head a lot watching this shit. And I'm not even going to lie to you because it seems like one of our best players, well, not one of our best players, but our up and coming players, and Montes Buzelis, why does it only seem like he shoot threes all fucking day? And that irks my nerves. I believe this man can really utilize, and if he was utilized correctly or being coached differently, we'll see a lot more out of his basketball game. But I think that he's just following what the instructions of his head coach, and I think that is limiting him to just being a damn guy that stands in the corner. I don't like it. So maybe that's something that opens things up for Montes Buzelis. But back to Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, here's an opportunity for you guys to go out there and get some minutes and be able to be depended on and be able to make an impression for the head coach and around the league. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and put your best foot forward and see what happens. We've had this conversation before. I don't know what to expect out of this. But hey, we'll be right here breaking it all down, talking about it and discussing it to see if the Chicago Bulls, can keep pace within these games that they have coming up. And it'll be interesting to see, man. It will be. And hey, injuries are a part of the game. We just witnessed the Denver Nuggets lose their best player. And for a schedule that the Chicago Bulls are, coming up against, if we missing the guys for a couple weeks, our next 6 games include the New Orleans Pelicans, the Orlando Magic, the Charlotte Hornets, the Boston Celtics, the Detroit Pistons, and the Miami Heat. So it's not easy selling from here, especially with this team. I don't think that we could take any game lightly and have the expectation or guarantee a win. That's just how it is. That's how it's been for the Chicago Bulls. Next game up is Wednesday night versus the New Orleans Pelicans. And already the New Orleans Pelicans, they've been putting BTA to the Chicago Bulls for some strange reason because, hey, that's just the life of the NBA. I guess they just match up well with us and they can outperform us. And Billy Donovan continues to get out coached by a number of other coaches. Like we said, we had a nice 5-game winning streak. 2 games versus the Cavs, 2 games versus Atlanta, and a game versus the 76ers before Giannis came out there and dunked at the end of the game and almost got stolen. But hey, man, we'll see what happens. Injuries suck, but it is a part of the game. And this is opening up more opportunities. Can Montes Buzelis go out there and give us a 20-point performance on most nights? What is Iodo Sumu gonna look like? What is Trey Jones' point total gonna look like? Does Billy Donovan call up Aldridge to come and be a part of this double big lineup that we've been running? We'll find out. We'll keep you all informed, and we're gonna go ahead and end the show on that note. But hey, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red, and y'all already know we're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.